Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we're checking out the new Vosteed VALKYRIE. In two different blade shapes, we have a sheep's foot and then a Wharncliffe, a harpoonish Wharncliffe, because we do have a little poon up there. And it is in 154 cm blade steel, G10 scale steel liners with a button lock. Multiple forms of deployment. We'll go over that here in 1 second. But it's a relatively slim, not small. It's not small. It's definitely not small. It's more of a medium-sized knife, but it's nice and slim, but it carries kind of like a small knife, but yet you have a full-size knife. Now, if you don't know, the packaging is really nice packaging. You get a metal can with a top and a bottom, metal can with a sleeve over the top of this and a pouch. So really nice packaging. But you guys came here for the knife, so let's check it out. So you have flipping action with great jimping, and the flipper tab works really, really well. These are fresh out, so these are still breaking in, but they are on bearings, so they are very, very smooth. The flipping action, though, yeah, the detent is, it feels like it's on the lighter side, but you have so much leverage that it snaps out there with authority. Then you have the front flipper, which they have the jimping going all the way up and around, and it's the kind of jimping that you want on a front flipper. Now, I could say that the front flipper could be up a little bit higher, but it's still easy. I could still do all the little tricks with it very easily, and you can even slow roll it because the flipper tab doesn't hide inside the scale, so even if you drag it all the way around slow rolling it, it'll lock up. The thumb studs, a little bit tight to the scale, but they poke up just enough that once you get your finger to it, you can feel it and you can pop it out. So it feels at first like they're tight to the scale, but then once you realize that they actually sit slightly, very, very slightly proud of the scale, that you just got to get your finger up to it and you can snap it out. They grab you. They have good grippiness to the thumb stud. Now, the geometry of this 154 cm blade, it's not super thin, but it's also not thick. It's right there in the medium range. This sheep's foot blade, you can see we have a nice little swedge up top, a little divot there. It's going to help make it more claw-like so you can get into materials. This one is definitely going to be a fantastic utility cutter as well. So both of them are going to basically work very similar to one another. It's just, it's kind of more of a preference thing because they're both going to be utility cutters. You can use both of them equally in any grip, forward, pinch grip, and it's just the shape, basically, which is going to be slightly different. You might be able to get a little bit more, I don't know. I was going to say you might be able to slice a little bit better with this one, but I don't know if that's true or not. I was just looking at how broad the tip is right there, but as long as you got a sharp edge, I don't see why you couldn't, separate materials with that. So we have a reversible deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws, and the button is very easy to press, and it sticks up nice and proud, has some good grippiness to it. You do have to push it in all the way, so you're not just going to bump it and disengage it. You have to push it in all the way before it'll disengage. I really like how the front of this, the jimping from the flipper tab, comes around right there because you have a finger choil here, but then you also have a little bit of grippiness there. So if you need to get some traction, you got it right there, which it does offer a decent amount of traction, and you have the jimping on the spine right here. Now, I'm not usually back here like this, but maybe with some cuts I am. I'm most likely going to be up here. So this jimping, yeah, it works, but it could be up a little bit farther. Now, as far as negative things go, there's nothing really bad. However, I do have one nitpick, which is the stop pin placement. So it has internal stop pins, which I do like. It has internal stop pins for the open position, but I'm guessing this is the stop pin for the closed position because it hits right there. Now, my problem with it is I wish the stop pin didn't hit in the thin part of the metal. I wish it hit in the thicker part. Not that I'm worried that it's going to chip it or anything, but just that if I ever want to cut in another choil, I don't want to have to, or if I sharpen all this steel off. What if I sharpen all the way up to here and I sharpen all that off? Well, then I won't be able to close my knife. So, granted, that's a lot of life. Don't get me wrong. I get it. That's a lot of life. And by the time you sharpen that off, you will damn sure get your money out of this. Because that's a lot of steel. But it's just the point, you know. You want a knife to last as long as possible. And that does kind of hinder, you know, how much you can sharpen off of the blade. But, you know, all in all, I doubt anybody will sharpen off that much. At least, you know, it'll take a very, very long time. So like I said, you'll still get your monies out of it. Next thing, T6s. I wish there were T8s all the way around. I don't know why we're still using T6s, but they are T6s. So T8 pivot, but T6 body screws. The next thing is, you know, I kind of spoke about it, the thumb studs. Yeah, they're very easy to use, so I'm struggling to even like nitpick about them, but they are a little bit tight to the scale. But you see how fast I can deploy it. So right there, I skipped a little bit though. So, but they're pretty grippy, and for the most part, they're fine. My next little nitpick is when the knife is closed, this button pokes up quite a bit. So left-handed, I wind up bumping I mean, I can get around it, but I wind up bumping the button. I wish the button was more inset so that it didn't poke out as much. That way, in the left hand, I didn't risk, you know, pushing it or, you know, messing with it. Now, don't get me wrong, I can get around it, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's just a thought, you know. It's just a little tiny nitpick that it'd be cool if the button wasn't so proud in the closed position. Because when it's open, it's, you know, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's when it's closed is when, you know, it affects you in the left hand. It has a really cool sound, though. Listen to this sound. Very cool acoustics. But all in all, I do like them quite a bit, and I will link everything I can down in the description for you guys. Vosteed has been coming out swinging, and they've been coming out with a bunch of great designs, and here is another one from them. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.